distances to get here, and I know particularly there are some who've come from as far away as Birmingham, Norwich, just a few from Norwich, that is. But I think the prize has to go to Damien and Renska, who've come all the way from Chamonix in France.
Don't know, Malta takes a bit.
Super skiing. Now, I know it's customary on these occasions for the father of the bride to talk about his daughter's formative years, and I'm afraid I'm not going to disappoint you. There's one or two good stories to come. Now, I have to hold my hand up to say that in her early years I made a fatal mistake with Laura's upbringing. I remember the family was staying with some friends in the country up in Buckinghamshire, and they kept horses. And I went out riding with them, and we came back, and there was Laura and her mother to greet us. And I made the fatal mistake of getting off the horse and putting Laura on it at the age of about 3. I led her round the field, and from then on it was, I want to go horse riding all the time. And it is riding crops, jodhpurs, riding fees, hard hats, boots, you name it, it goes on forever. So any of you who've got young daughters, or are thinking of having young daughters, take my advice and don't do that. Now, Laura was, would you believe it, when she was quite small, quite a timid sort of a girl. And her mother used to take her to the various children's birthday parties that she got invited to. And she wouldn't be left there on her own with the other kids. So her mother had to stay. But as time went by and she got a few years older, she became a bit more boisterous, and especially at home where she felt quite comfortable. And at times she could get under her mother's feet, who would after a while have had enough. I remember coming home from work one day, and I saw Laura standing at the bottom of the garden, staring down at the ground. She looked left, she looked right, left, and right, and I thought, well, whatever turns you on. And I went up to her, got changed, and had a wash, came back down again 10 minutes later or so. Laura's still there, left, right, left, right. And I went down the end of the garden because my curiosity could be contained no longer. And I said to her, Laura, what are you doing? And she said, Mummy sent me down here to look for the fairies at the bottom of the garden. So this was the lovely mother's way of getting rid of too much of a hand. However, as time went by, Laura began to grow up, and she took on what I can only say was a sort of Winston Churchill attitude. I've got to tell you two sort of stories here, one about Laura and one about Winston Churchill. I remember when Laura was at school, and she was a big girls' school, she had braces on her teeth, and one of these nasty girls came up to her and said, "Yeah, you've got braces on your teeth." And Laura said, "Yes, I have," she said. "And in a year my teeth will be straight and yours will still be crooked." And I liken this to the story about Winston Churchill, who was at a function one evening, very much like this, with all the tables and chairs set out. And he was on the top table as usual, and had a few too many drinks, because Winston liked his drink. And towards the end of the evening, he was making his way to the exit to find his way home with his bodyguards and all the rest of it. And he bumped into a woman's chair, and she looked up at him and she said, "Sir, you're drunk." And he looked down at her and said, "Madam, you're ugly, but in the morning I'm sober." So you can see slight similarity there between the two and why I used to like Laura too. Sorry about that, Laura. Duff me up afterwards. I don't want to drag it out too long, but I also have to say I welcome Ant into the family. He's a smashing chap. We've known him for quite some time now, and we get on really well. I'm not going to let him decorate my house for me because he's a bit of a demon with a paintbrush who gets the paint. So,
takes forever.
Yeah, this is true. But I couldn't be prouder. as I am of Laura as well. I hope they'll have a wonderful life together, and I wish you to raise your glasses. I hope you've all brought glasses with you, and give a toast to the bride and groom.